What is going on, guys? Today I'm going to talk about how to sell covered calls, and the example stock that I'm going to illustrate today is Tesla. So this is going to be pretty much an alternative to TSLY. Pretty much if you didn't want to purchase TSLY, the fund that is actively, selling covered calls and options on Tesla, and you kind of wanted to do it yourself. I'm going to kind of walk through that here today. Definitely do your own research with covered calls. Please understand your risk before implementing this options selling strategy. But let's go ahead and dive into it here. So having the ability to sell covered calls, you're going to have to obviously be set up with level 1 options. You're also going to have to either own 100 shares or have a call option that you can sell covered calls against. Today we're just going to talk about, we're going to assume you have 100 shares of Tesla. So in order to do that, it's going to cost you at today's price at, right around $22,000.75. So let's just assume that you do have 100 shares. What you want to do is come to the trade options tab, and tomorrow's going to be like the last week of July. So this Friday is going to be August 2nd. So you can sell, weekly covered calls, bi-weekly covered calls, monthly covered calls. Tasty Trade, I think their recommendation is like 45 days and less. That's when they say, that the theta is really going to depreciate the most. And pretty much what that is, there's different Greeks that make up this option and this option price. Delta pretty much is the amount that, so 38 delta, it's going to move $38 up or down based upon $1 movement. So it's currently, this covered call is currently at 365, 367. If Tesla were to go up $1, this option call is going to go up, approximately $38, depending on how close it is to the expiration. That gamma is the one that kind of fluctuates delta. So based upon every dollar movement, it's going to move that delta. And then theta is how much this option contract expires per day. So the closer you are to expiration, the higher that theta that theta amount is going to be. And then obviously the more expensive an option is, that the higher the theta is going to be as well. So with all that being said, let's just assume you want to sell weekly covered calls on Tesla. It could be a hard stock to do this because it's so volatile and it fluctuates a lot. But selling a 20 delta, depending on if you want your shares called away or not, according to this option, right? So this is going to be a negative 26 delta. The next one up is going to be right around that 20 delta. So a lot of people try to sell 20 deltas, 15 deltas, 30 deltas. Just obviously is going to depend on a lot of things. But for this example, let's say we're going to shoot for, selling that 20 delta. So if you sold this, this is almost 21 delta, you would collect $162 worth of premium in selling this covered call. And, pretty much you're agreeing to sell your shares. So the strike price is 232.5. You can see that there. But with the premium, you're actually selling your shares away at, 234.12. And they got that. They added 162 to that strike price. So hopefully that makes sense. Obviously, as long as it stays below that strike before expiration, you'll get to keep your shares and, receive full credit. Regardless, you're going to, receive that $162. But if it blows past it, goes like 250, 240, you're going to miss out on all that appreciation. So just do keep in mind of that risk there, and just kind of assess it with your situation. If capping your upside is worth the premium. So like, are you willing to, just keep in mind anytime you sell shares, if it's in a taxable account and it's for a gain, it's going to be a taxable event. So do keep that in mind. And then also if you don't want your shares to get called away, then selling covered calls might be a little bit too risky for your strategy, first strategy to implement. So just keep that in mind there. But let's just assume you sold this call, and you averaged, I know it's 162, but let's just say you averaged $150 per week. So $150 per week times 4, it's going to be roughly $600 a month. And if you were able to do this consistently, let's say 11 months out of the year, you took 1 year off or 1 month off, you're collecting $6,600 in premium. And then, you multiply that by your original investment, which was, I think it was like $22,000. You're collecting 30%, a 30% yield on your portfolio. Tesla does not pay a dividend, but this way you theoretically can create cash flow from your portfolio and selling covered calls. So TSLY's paying a little bit higher than this, so they might be a little bit more aggressive. You could, there's so many different variations of strikes, deltas, expirations. If you just want to sell, one per month, you can do that. There's tons of different strategies as far as selecting which strike prices to sell at, which deltas to sell at. Lots of different variations there, but this is just kind of a quick run through of how you can sell covered calls. If you wanted to manually do it yourself and, purchase 100 shares of a stock, doesn't have to be Tesla. It can pretty much be any stock out there that is optionable. Not all, I know like not a lot of income ETFs have optionable, strikes and stuff like that, but most do. So that's something you'll just have to check out. But needless to say, this is a way that you can pretty much create your own TSLY fund, right? Or, yield max fund. You are going to, find out pretty quickly that it takes a good bit of work, and, you're going to have to constantly either, letting options expire worthless. You're going to have to roll options. You're going to have to continue to make decisions, what strike, what expiration, when to sell it, if it's on a green day, is on a red day. So there's a lot of management that goes into doing this. So a lot of people opt, I don't want to waste that time in doing that. I'm going to let the professionals do it. So that's why, and the use case of, why you might want to invest into some kind of actively managed income ETF fund. But if you have the spare time and you want to kind of learn this skill set, definitely by all means, this is something you could do. You can also paper trade it as well, so you can get used to the strategy, so you don't have to use your money and make mistakes with your capital there. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, guys, that's it for today's video. I wanted to briefly talk about how you can sell covered calls. This is specifically using Robinhood's platform, which is definitely one of the easiest out there, but it's definitely very attainable on other platforms as well. If there's any platforms you want me to kind of walk through the process, let me know down below. But yeah, guys, that's it for today's video. Please like and subscribe down for more content coming up.